So good morning, everybody, and welcome to the early morning warm-up session of the musical variety. And we're looking at G major pentatonic today as being the kind of basis around which we're doing the little exercises. I'm going to put on the screen something you'll be familiar with, and that will be the sheet for the concert instruments. By that I mean pianos, guitars and violins and flutes and probably other instruments as well. The others, the saxes amongst you will have your own sheets. So we're going to start, as always, with just playing the first bar, which is crotchets. And I'm just going to play 4 to the bar. I'm going to put my metronome on 80 beats per minute. And power's on, yeah, you should be able to hear that. And we're just going to simply play that first bar. So just follow me, and they will, yeah, the notes are G, concert G. 1, 2, 3, 4. Before you go into a trance or start feeling lightheaded, let's move on to the next bar. This is quavers. So 2 to the beat, same tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, crotchets and quavers so far. So let's put the two together and we'll do 2 bars of crotchets followed by 2 bars of quavers and then repeat that. So off we go. 2 bars of crotchets to start with. 1, 2, 3, 4. And quavers. One more time, crotchets, 2, quavers, 1, 2, 3, and stop. Good-o. Now I'm going to move on to the 3rd bar on the sheet now. So this is triplets, and staying on the same note, of course. And so 3 to the beat, triplet, triplet. If you haven't played triplet before, listen first. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Of course, guitarists can keep doing that until their fingernails grow too long. But other instruments, don't forget to take a break and breathe Okay, let's move on to the fourth bar now, and these are semiquavers. Dugga, 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 dugga. 1 iana, 2 iana. Same idea, just the fourth bar on its own. Semiquavers. 1, 2, 3, 4. With semiquavers, obviously that's very fast on certain instruments. So instead of playing semiquavers, you can just revert back to crotchets or quavers and play them instead, just so that you're still in the process of warming up. Okay, we're going to now pair those two up. So 2 bars of triplets followed by 2 bars of semiquavers, all at the same tempo, 80 beats a minute. And we're still on G. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, triplets. Semiquavers. Triplets. Back to triplets. Semiquavers. One more time. Semi. Lovely. Right, that's concentrated the mind for a minute or two. Let's put all 4 bars together now. So first of all, we'll do 2 bars of each. Twice round, and then we'll do 1 bar of each. So, but we're going to pause between the 2. So just first of all, 2 bars of each notation. In other words, the first 4 bars, 2 bars of each bar though. Couple of times round. Here we go. Starting with crotchets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now quavers. Triplets. Semiquavers. Back to crotchets. Triplets. Semiquavers. And stop. Good. So we're getting there. We're just going to do just still at the same speed now. We're just going to go around the 4 bars. In other words, the top line, and just loop that top line as written. So we're going to start with the crotchets, then the quavers, then the triplets, then the semiquavers, and do that a few times. Here we go. 1 bar of each. 1, 2, oops. 1, 2, 3, 4. Quavers. Back to crotchets. One more time, crotchets. And finish. Good-o. Well, that's the first line, and we should be now. I think we've now heard enough of that note, although we're going to have a little bit more of it coming up next. Okay, we're going to move on, as always, to the chromatic scale next. I thought just to break it up a little bit, we will start with the descending scale. So we always seem to start on the low note and go to the high note, don't we, when we're practicing? So good idea to occasionally start at the other end. It's a good idea to actually start in the middle as well, but we're going to start at the other end this time. So we're going down to the third line on your sheet, which should say chromatic scale descending. Now, bass players, because we've gone up a little bit higher this time to somewhere in the range of all instruments, you will have to transpose down an octave, at least an octave, and yes, just an octave, that's right. Down an octave so that you're in range. But we're still essentially doing the same thing. We're going to go from G, concert G, down to an octave below that chromatically. So in other words, every semitone on the way. The fretting is going to be slightly different for guitarists amongst you. I know you're in the majority, so I might as well tell you. If you can see it on the fret on the tab, the fretting is different because of the tuning of the B strings. So just watch out for that. Otherwise, as usual, G down to G. And if you want to try calling out the notes as you go, please do. I'm not going to. So starting on the high G, which is up there. Let's get the metronome going. Descending chromatic scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Should be finishing on that G there. Let's do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's the chromatic scale, descending rather. Let's move up a line now on the sheet to the ascending scale. So starting on the lower G, concert G, and we're going to now ascend. So we're now starting at the bottom of the hill, walking up to the top. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Last time, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we've found our way at the top of the hill. So this time, rather than in the past when we've gone from the bottom to the top and back down again, we're going to start at the top and go all the way down to the little river at the bottom and then walk our way back up to the top. So starting on the high G, the one we did earlier. So starting up here, down to there, and then back up to there. So and without repeating the low note, so just play the low G once, all the way from the top to the bottom and back to the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back up again. Yeah, and we're back again at the top. Let's do that again. So after 4 from the high note, from the top one. 1, 2, 3, 4. going to do the same thing again. I'm just going to increase the speed slightly. It's one of those exercises where you tend not to read the dots because there are just so many sharps and naturals. You just learn the pattern or learn the notes. So a bit of muscle memory, and that can help you speed up. So I've only gone up to 90, but we're going to start on the high G again. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And just one more time, and then we'll move on to the next exercise. So from the high G, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that concludes the chromatic scale for today. We're now going to move on to the scale of the week. And they'll never make a program out of that, will they? Scale of the century. The major pentatonic scale is the scale we're doing today. So we've only ever done proper scales in the past. Heptatonic scales, 7-note scales. We're now doing a pentatonic scale, which is actually an older scale. It comes out of nature. And if you play the first 5/5 on your guitar, just going up in fifths, you end up with the major pentatonic scale. So it's the most natural one in terms of the overtone series. And so we're going to be doing G major pentatonic, or G pentatonic major. For the concert instruments, that will be A major for the B flat instruments and E major for the alto saxophones. And it's on the screen in front of you or on your sheet of paper. So first of all, we're just going to go back to 80 beats a minute, and we're just going to do the we're going to do what we did with the chromatic scale, and we're going to start with descending. Hope that's not too confusing, but we're going to start with descending. So have a look at those dots. So that will be the 3rd and 4th bar of that line that you're looking at there. So, or fret 8 if you're following the tab. So descending major pentatonic scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. The scale seems so short, doesn't it, compared to the others? We're there already. Let's do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, it is only a 5-note scale after all. So that's the descending scale, and let's now do the ascending scale. So that's the first 2 bars of that line. Major pentatonic scale ascending, starting on the G. 1, 2, 3, 4. Starting to sound more familiar. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's good, yeah. Whenever I explain this scale, I always like to give the example of My Girl by The Temptations, which is basically playing that scale. So if you ever hear that sound or think, oh, that sounds like My Girl, good chance that it's the major pentatonic scale. So now we're going to play the descending, again, descending, so the 3rd and 4th bar, followed by the ascending. So we're going to start on the high note, do what we did on the chromatic scale, come down the scale, then go back up. So starting on that high note, and we're going to come all the way down, then go back up again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back up. 4. That's it. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. So that's the major pentatonic scale. Another use for this scale, bass players particularly, you'd have heard it. I did leave one of the notes out, but that's a very familiar kind of rock and roll bass line, which is based on that scale as well. And those of you looking at the notes will think, that's a G6-9 arpeggio, and it certainly is. So it's all the notes of a G6-9 chord. So that's a couple of things there about the pentatonic scale. Very useful scale, and definitely one worth learning. But we're just warming up, so don't need to worry too much about the theory. We're going to move on now to playing the same scale, but 3 notes at a time. And always a good way to practice a scale is to break it down so that you're not just always starting on the root note. You are starting on different notes of the scale. So the last 2 lines of your sheet, you'll see the little 3-note cells. All they mean by cell is this little small group of notes, usually part of a melodic or scalar phrase. And I've written it out so that you play the first 3 notes of the scale in the first bar, then the second set of 3 notes, so starting on the second note, and then the next third bar is starting on the third note and going 3 more steps up the scale. And it's just a way of outlining the whole scale and all the notes, but not always starting right back at the beginning. So it gets you thinking a bit, as well as breaking you out of starting on the root note every time. So let's just do the first one on its own. I won't bother with the metronome. There's only 3 beats. We're just going to do the first bar just to get the fingers and lips and tongues and everything else moving. So the first bar of the ascending 3-note scale cells. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. That's a phrase you're going to hear in a lot of little nursery rhymes. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4. When I say you're going to hear, I mean you did hear. Okay, let's move on to the second bar, and we're going to look at the next 3 notes now of the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's put the 2 together. So as written on those 2 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the next one. Okay, good. Let's move on to the next bar, third bar. So now we're going to play the starting on the third note of the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now just finish off by playing the last bar, the fourth bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it sounds very different, doesn't it, to the normal major or minor scale, because it's much more open, bigger jumps, bigger intervals. Okay, we're going to play the whole the whole line now. So the ascending 3-note cells from left to right, all 4 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do that with the metronome. All again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, well, that's the 3-note cells section. We won't do the last one. I'll just leave that for you to play with if you like to practice with that one day. And as we need to move on, because we've only got a few more minutes, and we've got to the chord strumming to do next. So I'm going to put some chords on the screen. Hopefully you've got those chords in front of you if you're a saxophone or a trumpet or a non-concert instrument anyway. I'll type the chords on the screen so we can strum them. And what I'm going to suggest everyone does is, if you're a guitarist, I expect you'll strum along to the chords. If you're a bit of a jazz guitarist, then make them all diatonic 7th chords. I hope you know what that means. And let's put the first 3 up first of all. No, there's no W chord. E minor and B minor. Now we're just sticking to the key of G major here. So what I've done is I've just made a little sequence up based on using the 3 majors and the 3 minor chords in the key of G. This is the whole sequence. And we're going to strum through this as an 8 chord sequence. There you go. I hope you can see that all right. So guitarists strum through it. Bass players make up a nice bass line. And other instruments, I imagine you'll have your own techniques. You could use, you could play chord tones or root notes or thirds or fifths or voice leading, not voice leading, the thirds and sevenths, that thing, I've forgotten what you call them, guide tones. And whichever level you're at, just to make it so that it's something useful for you to think about and play. So that's the sequence. We're just going to strum through it. First of all, we're going to strum 2 bars of each chord. And then we'll move it on to 1 bar. So let's go for 2 bars of each chord. I won't use the metronome, and we'll here we go. Of course, if you haven't got the music in front of you, the other guys, the B flats and E flats, you can always use your ears. That's always a good thing to practice. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. D. E minor. B minor. A minor. G. D. Now repeat all that. 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's go around for one more time. G, 3, 4. Okay, finish on the root note. 2, 3, 4. Okay, we're going to now just finish off this morning's session with going through the same sequence, but only 1 bar of each. So ran the sequence a few times, just one bar of each chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time round, and G. Finish on G. And there endeth the warm-up for today. Righty-ho. Whew, I'm warm. Don't know about you guys. Right. I know a few of you have got to nip off because you've got Alan Barnes to go and enjoy in 10 minutes' time. So thank you very much, everybody, for coming along. It's nice to see so many. Oh, it's 29 of you. There must be some more people over on the other screen. Hello, guys. Oh, there's Barry and one or two others have turned up. Good. And I'll put that on YouTube. Mind you, you've seen it already, so you're not interested. But I will put the video of this on YouTube for anyone who wants to go over it all over again or send it to a friend. And right, thank you very much. And we'll be back next week with some more warm-ups. And I'll just unmute you now so you can all shout at each other for the final time this morning. And say goodbye.
Goodbye, all.
Bye.
Really good week.
All at once.
Next week.
I'll see you next week, guys. Bye.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Dave. Bye.
Yeah. See ya.
Bye.
Yeah, see you then. Bye-bye.
Yeah. See you, Les.
Yeah.
And Karen. Bueno.
Oh, there's Liz there. Hello, Liz. Didn't see you. And there's another Dave here who's